Hello and welcome to this eCognition Deconstructed video. Today we're going to have a look at the upgraded and updated 2D feature space plot. Where can you find it in the software? You can find it under Tools, 2D feature space plot. In my case it's grayed out because I do not have image objects, so let's go ahead and create image objects. And this 2D feature space plot allows you to plot features, right? To investigate your feature space across all features that you have, so you can select all the features in the from the feature view and apply objects on different levels, filtered by class and so on. So let's have a look. Now we have image objects. Let's go to Tools and 2D feature space plot. Now it's active. And it might look different in your case when you open it, because it keeps actually the features here that you had the previous time you used this tool. But yeah, you see here all the objects that are displayed or here. Actually not all of them. You can define the number of objects that you want to have plotted here. By default it's set to 10,000. If you increase that number it might slow down the updating here. I set it to 100,000. It's gonna take a bit longer, right? But that's just okay. 10,000 is a very nice, in my case, it also depends on the feature, but it's a nice number to work with. You also can set it to all and display all. What else do we have? Marker size, right? So you can decrease the size of the markers, make them very small or very large, depending on what you want to have. And let's move it here. And yeah, you can change here the features. Simply click on this one for the y-axis. Let's go for layer 3. All right, now we have both layer 3s and maybe layer 1 here. And then you see the distribution. What else can you do? New level. You can select levels. If you have multiple levels here, you can select the level. Select classes, right? We do not have any classification yet, but I'm gonna select all. And just for safety, right? Then we have highlight samples. If you have samples, in my case, actually I do have samples. If you check this, the samples are gonna be displayed here in the feature space plot. And yeah, those samples are based on my thematic layer that I have here, right? And I also can display the samples. I need to find them. Right. That's a vegetation sample, for example. So I used to convert the vector to samples. I use this algorithm here, convert thematic objects to samples. And you actually see where those are sitting. What else? Yeah, here the minimum maximum value of the axis, x-axis and y. So you can actually move this around to adjust what you're seeing here, which is very nice. You can use the sliders or you can type in the value here. And I think that's more or less all for this 2D feature space plot. Not everything. I'm going to show you a nice feature in a second. But first of all, I want to quickly classify my image objects. And what I do here is I compute a few index layers. Then I run a supervised classification. So I train the model and I apply it. And if I switch to the class color, you now see that everything is, or all objects are classified. It's just a dummy project, not very meaningful, but I wanted to show you that now you can use actually the 2D feature space plot to investigate your classification on and also your samples. So let's have a look at the 2D feature space plot. Now it's updated, so you see now in red is my red object, so that represents the class. And I'm gonna go for the NDVI here and the NDWI down here. And I think what you see So in the circles with the black outline, you see the samples. And the squares are the classified objects. And what I see here is a few outliers or overlapping classes, right? Here are a few green objects, and I don't know if they are correctly classified. And now the cool thing is that if you click one of those points, the object will be highlighted in the view. And one trick is to zoom in quite a bit. And let me quickly change the highlight color of selected object to yellow. And if you click an object, it will zoom at the object and center it in the view, which is very neat. So this is interactive. So you see, I zoom to this one, which looks like an outlier, right? And I think it is. It's not true vegetation if you have a look at the NDVI value. And that simply shows you that those 4 objects, for example, those are, the likelihood that they are misclassified is very high. But what you also see here, so again, it's interactive, that's very cool. What you also see here is the samples. You see those in the center here, right? There are green samples in this red area, right? And I think those samples are not very good samples. So what I want to do here is I want to focus on this area, and I'm simply going to adjust a bit the sliders to zoom more or less to this area, make it better visible. There we go. So now I see you can decrease the size here. Ah, it's awesome. So I want to have a look at those 2 samples and really see if those are samples for the green class which represent vegetation, or are they actually samples for non-vegetation, the red class. So if I zoom in, it's classified as red, so non-vegetation, but I'm interested now in not the feature, I'm interested in the sample. This is a green sample, and I don't think this should be a sample for vegetation because it clearly doesn't look like vegetation. So we can remove it here, or simply use it or convert it to a sample for non-vegetation. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use the sample toolbars sample. And what I want to do is I simply want to reclassify this one into no, or I want to create a no vegetation sample out of it. So I simply double click it here, I select the class here, use this tool, double click, boom. And you see here in the plot as well that it instantly changed. So I'm gonna have a look at this one as well. That's also clearly not vegetation. So what I can do is, in this case, I'm simply gonna remove it instead of putting it into the class or into the sample, into a non-vegetation sample. Okay, so now everything looks better. Now I actually can train the model again based on the samples. So if the sample space has changed, and apply it, and now have a look at the classification. So it should have changed a bit and improved. And yeah, that's actually a very nice tool here now that helps you to investigate the feature space of your objects, of your samples, and also interactively have a look at the objects and adjust them, right? And again, all features here, not only spectral features, but also geometry features or whatever, right? You all can display them here. In this case, you see that the largest objects here are classified as non-vegetation. So they are probably, because I use multi-resolution segmentation, very homogeneous areas in the scene. So all features are possible. Okay. One last thing is, yeah, select classes. If you want to display just one class, that's also possible. And if you have multiple levels, you can select the level here as well and display all levels or simply one level that you select. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy using this tool. It's going to really help you understand the distribution and the feature values of your objects, and this interactivity, I think, is a game changer for investigating your objects. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.